First Alert Media here now with an update on the severe weather that we're continuing to watch move across North Georgia. A very, very strong line of severe weather extending all the way from Tennessee down now into the West Metro. And our latest warning now has portions of Cobb and Douglas counties are in the basically under the gun here for severe weather. This entire line from Tennessee all the way into the West Metro is now warned for 70-mile-an-hour winds. So your typical your typical severe thunderstorm warning is going to be for 60-mile-an-hour winds. This one, 70 miles an hour. And this pink color that you see up in Chattanooga, whenever you see it turn that color, it means at least 80 miles per hour. And that's what we had earlier in Dade and Walker counties as we went into the, about 30 minutes ago. So anytime, if these continue to strengthen, we could see some of these warnings also turn that pink color. That's one of the reasons we're kind of keeping you up to date. Notice ahead of the storms, we are seeing a few isolated showers and storms popping up now. So over the Austell area in Cobb County, over towards Douglas County, the Thornton Road area, maybe some small hail in that particular one. And that's all moving in towards the city of Atlanta right now. Already, if you're going to be on the top end perimeter between 75 and 400, you're getting hammered right now with just a lot of heavy rain. Not a lot of lightning, though, ahead of the storm, but just look at the ferocity of the lightning strikes as we go all the way from basically Chattanooga down towards Talladega. So we're continuing to see basically a very potent line of severe storms. So as we take a look right now, this is Calhoun. You can see some very heavy rain in that area. Off to the side, you can see reflections of thunder. I should say reflections of lightning. That's the visual one there as we go through the afternoon. So, it's very heavy rain, very strong winds, and intense cloud to ground lightning. Those are the main threats that we're looking at. There's also the potential for a spin up tornado. That is on the lower end, though. You see me walking across the side of the screen because I want to start moving things around so you can get an idea of what's happening. And also, though, so I can catch up with the National Weather Service and see if they've gotten any updates on there as well. So we are now hearing damage reports for folks up into Whitfield County. So that's going to be here up into the Dalton area. So that is just outside of our viewing area. But again, part of this line of showers and storms that continues to just develop and push off towards the east very rapidly. So you can see right now we're looking at, portions of Cartersville on the map, Taylorsville, Dalton, where we just were, is now what's in that box off to the left. And you can see some very heavy rainfall. I think the worst of the wind has passed through, but you can still see those flashes of lightning across the screen. If you can't see the bolt, you can actually see the actual kind of intense flash of light that kind of pulses in and out. So, all of this is moving off towards the east at about 45 miles per hour. So as I zoom out, I want to show you, one, look how much lightning there is with this. So earlier we had about 1,000 strikes, now looking at about 750. So still very intense with this line of showers and storms. And as we time it out, give me a second here because I have to take a lot of extra steps when we time it out on this app. So I want to take some of these other cities off just so we can get some of the major ones in. Before I do, look, Bowden, it's on top of you. Taylorsville, Harley looking at 507. West Georgia, the University of West Georgia, 512. Carrollton, 514. Villa Rica, 516. Same with Carters Lake, Fairmount, White, Cartersville, Dallas. Notice how all of those are within the next 15 minutes. That's the main reason I take off some of the other cities, just because we can show some more cities that are kind of down the line here. Notice Ackworth looking at 528, Douglasville 528, Powder Springs at 530, and we'll be looking towards Canton at 537, Woodstock 539, same for Marietta as well. So just goes to show you that, as we go through the afternoon, a lot of us are going to be impacted by this. So, go ahead and make those preparations if you have the time. Anything that can be blown away outdoors, garbage cans, plants, patio furniture, definitely secure those or bring them inside and just kind of watch what's happening outside your window. Definitely for 70 miles an hour winds, I'd honestly say treat this like a tornado warning because these 70-mile-an-hour winds can do quite a bit of damage. So I'm going to go ahead and change this here. I want to change the setting so we can actually see a little bit closer. Earlier in northwest Georgia, and I'll zoom out so you can see what I'm talking about. So when you're looking in northwest Georgia, I typically will use the radar up into Huntsville. You can see the beam coming out because it gives us a better view of basically from Dalton to Calhoun to Rome and then back towards Anniston. But as we get into the metro, it's better to start looking at Peachtree City. It gives us a little bit more resolution. We can start to see a little bit of, some detail in these cells as they're pushing off towards the east. So I want to start with this one. This is until 5:30. Dallas, Douglasville, Carrollton, you're all under the gun here for these showers and storms that are pushing into your area. Again, the main threat is going to be strong, damaging, straight line winds. And we're seeing on the radar, let's see if this is going to be, above ground. So, we're seeing 73-mile-an-hour winds just above the surface for a lot of these locations. So that's why we do have the warning out. So that is above the surface. That's not necessarily ground truth. That's not necessarily verified at the actual ground, but it's a good indication that if these storms are able to tap in and get those winds to the surface, it could be significantly damaging, unfortunately, for a lot of folks. So I'm going to put it back onto the rain mode so you can kind of see what's happening here. Again, ahead of this, we are seeing some very, very heavy rain here. In fact, I'm going to zoom up on 75 just a bit, because that's what you're looking at. That's our storm tracker right now. It's moving up in through Bartow County. It's moving north, so it's going to be heading towards Gordon County, and we're continuing to watch some very heavy rain in that area. Notice, though, the heaviest rain in Bartow County is not to the interstate yet. So you can imagine these driving conditions aren't ideal right now, but once that heavier shower and storm starts to move in, I'm going to see if I can see what exit this is. All right, Union something. So they're kind of in this area right here, moving up and north into that area here. So I used to drive this every single week for about 5 years. So I got pretty good at the geography of that particular area. Meanwhile, again, 70-mile-an-hour winds are the main threat, but I don't want you to kind of count out the potential for some hail. Notice where we have these groupings of some large lightning strikes. If you zoom in, you can see there is the potential for maybe some 1-inch hail. That's aloft. It melts a little bit before it hits the ground. So I'd probably say dime to nickel size. For folks near Rockmart, that's going to be heading in your direction. Aragon moving in your direction as well. And maybe some, pea-sized hail between Tallapoosa, Waco, and Buchanan over there in Haralson County. That could be moving towards Villa Rica as we head into the next, 10, 20 minutes or so. So, we kind of got a little bit of everything here, including, a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. The good news is so far the rotation has been very broad. We have seen a little bit of it, but nothing that would concern us to the point of them, the National Weather Service having to issue a tornado warning. We haven't seen that yet. We have not seen that back into Alabama. We haven't seen that up into Tennessee, so that's some good news there. But what we have seen is widespread trees down, and that is causing power outages and is starting to cause power outages in northwest Georgia. So I left the lightning on here because I want you to see where the line of storms is. So Anniston, Talladega, all the way up through Rome, Calhoun, in towards Dalton, and now over in towards Bradley County in Tennessee. Behind it, you can see some of these counties where we have the peach color, the lighter orange, 40% of those counties are without power. So what happened there is the storms pulsed up, the winds came down really strong, they were able to tap in. Remember I showed you those winds aloft, 70, 80 miles an hour. Sometimes they tap into that and push them to the surface, and that's where we'll see these sporadic bursts of some very heavy winds, and that's what's causing some of these power outages. Notice Chattooga County, Walker County, Dade County, already starting to see some power outages, in Haralson County as well, and all of this is moving in towards the metro area as we head throughout the next 15 to 45 minutes or so. I say 15 to 45. I realize that is a very large, number, but it really depends on where you're at. Because, if you're in Woodstock and Kennesaw, it's 15. If you're in Douglasville, it's probably another 45. So this is the time that you need to make those preparations before the warnings get into your area. And we'll continue to watch all of these showers and storms push off towards the east. So I'm going to time it out a little bit closer to the metro. Give me just one moment. Again, these are moving out off to the east about 45 miles per hour. So again, we've already seen a lot of these cities. Just to kind of update it, Dallas 520, Hiram 527, Douglasville, Whitesburg 530. Same for Ackworth, Powder Springs at 533. Looking down the line just a little bit, you're going to be able to notice that, oh, it's not letting me do it. Try this one more time. You know what? Just like in everything else in life, sometimes technology doesn't want to work the first time for you. So we will try again. Bam, there we go. So eventually Kennesaw, Lithia Springs about 540. Folks in Kennesaw State University, same thing for you. We're looking at Austell at 544. And I'm trying to get a little closer in towards, the Atlanta areas. Here we go. Sandy Springs, Roswell, top of the hour. Buckhead, Dunwoody, top of the hour as well. Normally, we would tell you, if it holds together, these are going to hold together. There's nothing showing that the potential for this is going to be weakening. So we're going to be looking towards Buckhead, 602, Atlanta, downtown, about 605. So again, some very heavy, rain with this, some very intense lightning, and some very strong winds are continuing to move in with this system as it pushes out towards the east. The good news is, for our area, we aren't seeing any more of those peach-colored warnings. And I say our area, I really mean Georgia. That's not technically the Atlanta News First area, but still. But we are still seeing the potential for some 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this line as it continues to push off towards the east. Let's zoom in just a bit because we do have some very heavy rain now in Calhoun and Adairsville. Let's see if a little bit of hail there. So from Adairsville back towards extreme eastern Floyd County, we do have the potential for maybe some pea-sized hail for folks who are in those areas. I kind of want to zoom out just a bit where some of these heavier lightning strikes are and see what we're dealing with in terms of wind. You really got to zoom in sometimes and to get some of the, there we go, 68-mile-an-hour winds. Again, these are aloft. These are not at the surface. Over near Waco, 68 miles an hour. Mount Zion looking at about the same. Folks in Carrollton looking at about the same as well. So again, very strong winds with this line continuing to push off towards the east. Notice, though, still ahead of this, developing now in Henry County, some very strong thunderstorms are continuing to pop up from McDonough over towards Stockbridge and then up towards the northern section of Clayton County. So just over the 675 interstate area and then inside the perimeter, if you're over 400 near the top end perimeter, seeing some very heavy rain as well. The warnings themselves, though, back out towards the west. The newest one since we came on now is for here in Gilmer, Fannin counties, over in towards Blairsville. Let's go ahead and see exactly what this one is until 5:45 as we head into the evening hour. So that's some good news there. We're watching it slowly start to progress. We're not getting as aggressive with some of the warning times. And I think part of that is just because of the speed of which it is moving. So I'm reading now. Like I said, we're now starting to get damage reports in. Polk County has numerous spots in Cedartown and Rockmart with trees down. They're not saying exactly what type of trees or how big the trees are, but again, it's going to show you that we are continuing to deal with, and here's the latest outlook for the power outage map. You can see Chattooga now up, Catoosa up a little bit, Rome, Floyd County, Haralson, Polk County is now starting to rise as well. So, we are continuing to watch the wind do its thing as it moves through, helping to knock out some of the power into the area. So again, we're going to continue to watch this as it pushes off towards the east. It will be impacting the metro area as we get in towards the next 45, maybe 50 minutes or so. We'll continue to bring you updates online and streaming, and they'll also be on Atlanta News First at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock.